I'm in a custody battle. Now, there's a long story to this, and there's a lot of little things that go on in between every single episode. But I'm in a court case over a child named Freddie Clucker, and the court case is today, and I need to talk to my lawyer. So, there's a lot of things, and I'm just going to need to catch up with him. So, I'm just going to need to see him. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, come on down.
Alrighty. Hello. Been a little bit.
For today. Are you ready?
Yes. Should be.
Good. Oh. All right. I've got my questions.
Okay.
Just be prepared for anything. I expect they'll try to paint you as a terrible person.
Yeah, I completely understand that part.
I'm gonna do my best to fight that, and hopefully send it right back out.
All right. Of course. From what I'm hearing, like the court of law, I'm just going to try and, if I don't know an answer or anything like that, I'm going to just immediately refer to you, so I don't slip up anything or do something wrong, in a sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that is I need to know? What happens if I do lose the case, or like, am I still having to pay for your services, or that's it?
Hopefully, the plan, one of the plans I've got going, because Dawn tried to limit your visitation without previous to this court hearing, I'm hoping we can just get her to the court to motion to have her cover the cost.
All right. Okay.
And I'm hoping that will go regardless.
Okay. But of course, if I win, I'll give you the fair share of the final estimate of afterward. So.
Okay. Works for me. Hopefully,
well, of course, I'll probably, I'm just seeking visitation, but you know all the details. I've given you kind of all the evidence that they have provided, but also we might be able to, reverse it and all that. So, yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Very good to know. Yeah. So, I'm just going to be doing some extra prep work, and I'll see you at whenever the case starts.
Alrighty.
Okay. See you then.
See you then.
So, yeah. There are a couple things. Please refer back to episode 2, I believe, for a lot of kind of what happened. Also, there's going to be, actually, I believe, a lot of this evidence I'm going to try and find the source for, actually, like, whenever I publish this video. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys see all that. So, without further ado, I'm going to be heading to the courthouse at Spawn, and hopefully we should be good from there. So, yeah.
All right. Court is in session. We begin by having the plaintiff or the plaintiff's lawyer present their argument and their complaint.
That's
you guys.
suing. Okay. Greetings, everyone. That is blind. We are gathered here because my client, Mr. Ereo, was wrongfully limited from seeing his child, and he would like visitation rights at the very minimum, but after reviewing several evidence, we believe he should get full custody. Ereo, if you would please take the stand. I call Ereo to the stand.
All right.
Ooh.
I don't even know where to start.
I think that's the suspect. Or
That's the stand.
No idea.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
a few questions, Mr. Ereo. So, to confirm for the record, you are the father of the child. What is the child's name?
So
Freddy
Vladimir
Clucker.
here now? I don't get it.
Freddy Clucker. Okay. So, how often have you seen Freddy after your small altercation with Miss Dawn Explosion over there?
Since we've been separated, not at all.
Not at all. Have you had any prior court orders to not see the child?
No direct court orders. Some
No direct order.
threats
Okay,
to
then.
not see, or not threats, but just general not allowing me to see Freddy Clucker.
Threats, you say? Okay, and just would you say you hate Dawn?
No, I do not.
You don't. So, if you had full custody, you would not be opposed to allowing her to visit Freddy.
Yeah, I would allow her to visit Freddy.
Okay, and would you say that you would try to limit your feelings towards Dawn from imprinting on young Freddy?
I think I kind of, I mean, I don't exactly know what exactly would happen. So, I'd say, yeah, at least in a sense, prevent any. I prefer not to say much about that.
Just one final question. When
Wait, he's
Dawn
getting
chose the
excited about
name
something, right?
for Freddy Clucker, what were your first
Yeah.
opinions?
Opinions, it
The name she
it
chose.
sounded like a very familiar name. To say not the least.
Your questions, Your Honor.
For the defense, would you like to question the witness?
Before I say anything, first
You do have-
off,
We did kind of
Uh,
skip opening arguments, so yes, this would be a good time
yeah.
for that.
hope y'all know, I like to yap. I have a bit of a issue though. I don't explain things very well. I trip over myself, all that jazz. So I figured I should probably recruit a little bit of help. I think I'd rather my lawyer present my rebuttal.
Oh my
Hello, everyone. How is it?
That's a good
going
lawyer. I know that.
today? How is it going today? I hope we're all having a fantastic morning, evening, or afternoon. So, what do we say? We get some courting, some lawyering up here. I am here.
To be honest, I peed a little.
Jury is instructed to not be a little in the jury's area.
All right, guys,
Very
we
well.
gotta
Sorry,
go.
continue.
No,
All right. I would like to say that I am here to not only defend my client Don here, but I'd like to turn the tables a little bit, because if you'll take a look at Fractured
Not
General
the only
Chat,
color.
not only are we going to be defending against the outrageous proposition of Ereo gaining full custody, but we are going to be prosecuting Ereo for the following crimes against not only Don, but Freddy Clucker himself. We are going to be suggesting that he is prosecuted for the following crimes: animal cruelty and endangerment, criminal trespass, child endangerment, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and recklessly endangering another person, also known as the REAP law.
Objection,
these
Your Honor.
are-
This is a separate court case. We are here for child custody.
Nope. This is relevant to the child custody case because if all of these are shown, which I believe they are very easily shown through all of the evidence we have put into the Fractured General Chat, then there is no way on earth that, oh, thank you, that Ereo should be given not only custody, but any visitation whatsoever for Freddy Clucker, my apologies. But all of this will be displayed in due time with our witness statements and with our overview of the evidence provided. So this is where we stand on this. Not only should Ereo not have any visitation, but he should be prosecuted for crimes listed and described previously. Thank you so much for your time.
Plaintiff's lawyer's objection is sustained. This is correct. This is a custody trial, not a criminal trial. You can present the evidence, but there will be no, this is an instruction to the jury, there will be no judgment of criminal activity on the part of Ereo, even if he did something obviously very, very goofy.
Does this mean we're going to be having a second
that
court
not-
case?
Well, I
We
guess
were talking about
but-
trial chamber trial. We were. That was brought up. I think we know
Yeah,
our case
I'm-
now.
Criminal. Is
I'm a
the
family-
criminal record not something we should put into consideration when making our judgment later?
if he has an existing criminal record, that can be brought into evidence, but a criminal proceeding would have to be something separate.
Okay.
Alright.
There's
But-
not a lot of-
As the defense lawyer pointed out, that evidence could also be relevant to this case, so you are allowed to present it. It's just that we're not going to pass any sort of criminal judgment today. Although I do reserve the right to, if necessary, bonk somebody over the head. That is the judge's prerogative.
To be clear, I would like to say we're not expecting a prosecution against Ereo today for any of these crimes. We would like to present them as an initial case purely for the custody case. A further prosecution for the crimes committed would be made later in due time.
Very well.
Told is a good lawyer.
I'm just surprised too.
So that was opening arguments, but you also have, because things got slightly out of order, you have Ereo on the stand, and it's your opportunity to cross-examine.
Of course, I will cross-examine.
To speak
Ereo.
very legal terms, that I definitely know what I'm doing.
So, Ereo, as far as I'm aware of the story, which I've been going over the story with Dawn for the last couple of weeks or so, this is the sequence of events that I have been led to believe is true. And I will ask you to confirm all of these events as I go through them in order. First of all, you and Dawn met up in the desert, where Dawn is currently based, or somewhere in the vicinity. And the first thing that happened was you met Dawn with her cat. And the first instinct you had upon approaching Dawn was to axe crit the cat. You stopped yourself briefly as you noticed that the cat had a collar, but the first instinct you had was to crit the cat. An innocent cat standing a couple blocks off to the side. Do you have any objection to this, or is this something that you will admit happened?
Yes, I do admit that has happened. But I see that, as you might have saw, that I refrained from actually hitting the cat, and in reality, I did not hurt it.
True, but with the evidence gifted, it is important to note that it was an instinct. It was not a logical decision before the axe crit was initially brought up, but of course it was put down. Later, moving forward in time, you threw a couple of eggs, which created, I believe, two chickens, correct? So you threw a number of eggs, and there were two chickens out of the initial batch of eggs, one of which became Freddy Clucker, correct?
Yes.
And I ask you, what happened to the second chicken?
I cannot recall. So,
It's funny that you can't recall that, because the second chicken was axe critted by you, as provided in the evidence we have
Child
in the fractured
murderer.
genital check.
There was another. I mean, I think he did something like that in season 1 too.
The brother or sister, we don't even know. We didn't have the opportunity to check the gender of said chicken before it was ruthlessly murdered by Ereo. Was axe critted and killed before Freddy Clucker even had a name. Dawn then, of course, jumped into action defending the second chicken, eventually saying, Ereo, if I give this chicken a name, will you leave it alone? And Ereo says yes. Now keep this in mind because this is an important part of the plot. Later, of course, after a little bit of harassment and back and forthing, Freddy Clucker was given his name, a small temporary enclosure, and the story went on from there. Because right after that, Ereo came back and made more chickens. More chickens were created, and these chickens were still in the property of Dawn, so they were brought into an enclosure as well. And Dawn asked that she be able to take care of them as they were, in a sense, siblings of Freddy Clucker, and they were in that environment. Now, Ereo, do you have any recollection of what happened to those chickens after they were born?
So what I'm thinking of what you're trying to say is there were 2 chickens that came out of that. They were, I recall them being both put into a boat at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as those chickens were created, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's about it.
Interesting, leave out what happened immediately after, because after this point, the siblings of Freddy Clucker, keep in mind, and again, we're not going to go into the details of prosecuting for certain crimes, but I think most of us would find it morally reprehensible to separate siblings, young siblings, early on in their childhood development. Soon after, Ereo did promise to leave Freddy alone. He did not promise with the other 2 siblings, which he promptly grabbed and leaded with a happy gast, similar to the one just outside the courtroom now, and boated them and flew them away. Those 2 chickens were removed from property, taken away from Freddy Clucker, and from Dawn. Now, while all of this happened, there were a few other things that Ereo said that were on record, on stream, that you can view at your discretion. One of the things he said was admitting killing 20 villagers within just a few days of the server opening. 20 villagers.
Oh my gosh, Ereo.
Another thing was threatening to attack the chicken, placing cactuses next to Freddy Clucker, just seemingly randomly. After being requested that he distance himself from Freddy Clucker and from Dawn, breaking that distancing, admitting he had started going on a villain arc, as he quoted, talking about stealing items, later rolling up to Dawn's shop, what would eventually become the plushie shop, attacking her with a crossbow and robbing her. And then, soon after, actually in call with Your Honor here, saying that he did not want supervised visitation. He would not accept supervised visitation. Why is that, Ereo? Why would you not accept supervised visitation?
I prefer to not answer question.
Oh no.
I think that gives you the answer that you can infer. So,
We never did the swearing up on the book again. I'm just realizing that.
Oh, we're past that now.
that's okay. We've got a pizza. That's what I'm swearing upon.
Are we
So-
doing this by Ontario rules, since I'm in Ontario and I was asked to be the judge?
Sure, let's go by
I think that'd be
Ontario.
really
What
fun.
What's Ontario
what are
rules?
Ontario rules?
Well, in this case, it means that Ereo does not have the right to not answer.
Oh,
Oh,
However, as a compensation for the lack of equivalence to Fifth Amendment in the states. Anything that is said in this court does not apply as evidence in future legal proceedings.
In future prosecutions. Gotcha.
So whatever you say here can't be used as evidence against you in a criminal case should one be brought.
So, I suppose we'll ask the question again, though, then. Why, Ereo, would you not have accepted supervised visitation?
Why? You say?
Yes. Yes. Why would you not have accepted supervised visitation? I understand, to be clear, that your eventual goal is for full custody, with Dawn getting visitation. But in the case that Dawn has custody, why would you not accept visitation while Dawn was in the area? Doesn't seem so bad to me. I mean, there's no bad blood between the two of you, I'm certain.
Well, because at the moment I didn't trust Dawn.
And why is that?
Because in a way the way that I'm trying to go through at this is I'm my actual father instincts may and actually have started to come through at the around these moments.
But they didn't come through for the first chicken that was born.
Well, at that point, I never had a child before, and
What? So you're deferring to lack of experience with parenthood, despite previous records. I would also like to mention that in the list of evidence given in the general chat, one of the things that Ereo stated was he did not know that Freddy Clucker was his child before he had killed the other chicken and stolen the other two. He wasn't aware of the fact that Freddy Clucker is his child. So if he didn't even know, either he is lying and he did know, and therefore he killed one of his own children, or he did not know and has now decided that just because he is not allowed to visit or have custody of a chicken, he now must do it out of spite. So, with that, I'd like to end my time speaking here with Ereo. I'd like to defer to the prosecuting lawyer some of my remaining time, and I hope that the jury is satisfied with the level of information we're getting here. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So one thing I noticed when listening upon the respectable pizza buff over here, he referred a lot to evidence that they had collected, and they so kindly, I will admit, I'm quite thankful for this, gave it to me before the court case for my own reviewing. And I would like to actually use some of this evidence. So one of the things I remember them talking about assault of my client towards the defendant, and I actually have some counter evidence where before that happening there was actually assault towards Ereo by the defendant. So if you would all look at, see if I can find it real quick, it's somewhere. Evidence number 15. And Mr. Ereo, do you happen to recall, shortly after, I believe, the birth of Freddy, you tried to sleep in a bed, and Dawn not only broke your bed, but also stole it and started running away. Do you recall this moment?
Yes, I do.
And in this moment, when you were chasing after Dawn to reclaim your bed, your property, she hit you multiple times.
Yeah. Yes.
That's all in that case. The next, he mentions two other children. And when looking at the evidence, I believe it is first is evidence 12, where these children were placed into a boat, as you mentioned. And the next is evidence number 14, where they claimed you stole the chickens. Was Dawn at any point involved in the birth of these children? Because I remember you distinctly telling me Freddy was born at the feet of Dawn.
Yes. I did say that Freddy was born at the feet of Dawn. The only reason why now I'm thinking uh, Dawn's more involved in this case is because, well, she's the nearest mother.
So her being nearby, you would say, might associate her with being the mother of these children. But you are without doubt the father.
Yes, I'm the one who threw that egg to create
Okay,
Freddy
so
Clucker.
it's you would say it's unclear whether Dawn is actually the mother because these young chicks were not born in the same way Freddy was.
Yes.
So that being said, it would be unclear whether these children are actually fully brothers to Freddy.
Yeah.
Objection. If I remember correctly, and this is going off of my memory, the eggs were taken from my chest, having come from Freddy that I have been collecting and storing over time. Therefore, my involvement in, at least for the twins, is a lot more than Ereo is implying. And the lawyer as well.
I did see the video, but like the evidence, but what didn't
The other
did those
two
twins
chickens.
come from Freddy? Oh, so they were
The
more
airlifted
chickens.
gas twins.
They
I'll
did.
just
They
accept
were
that
not
title.
Freddy's children. They were eggs from the same batch that Freddy was taken from.
No.
No?
They were like eggs. This was Freddy.
Oh,
Freddy
yes.
was a much older sibling at this point.
Freddy was a much older. Well, yes, but they were of the same origin point, which was your egg supply.
Yes.
Yes.
Freddy. I think Ereo, if I remember correctly, because I do want to be transparent. Ereo did Freddy's egg. I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember where Ereo got it from. But the eggs that the twins came from were in my chest that he took out and started spamming.
And you did
That is
stop
the end of
him?
my piece. I actually do remember saying something about like not wanting stuff to be taken out of my chest.
I would like to object to that by saying, how would one stop someone from throwing eggs they have already removed from a chest? There's no way in Minecraft of doing that without attacking the other person.
Well, that would be considered defending yourself, and not grounds for assault.
Precisely.
This was during a
So
time
in
when
that
we were
instance, she
having.
would have been able to.
This was during a time when we were having heightened verbal altercations. In the fact that there was already an understanding that this court case was going to happen. I did not want to do anything that might implicate myself as being dangerous or a bad parent.
Shouldn't you get it here now?
But regardless,
This was
the chickens were not born near Freddy.
if I remember correctly.
They were
right
not in
front of him.
his enclosure as was inferred by Pizza Buff.
They weren't in his enclosure, but they were close by, and they had been in contact.
Directly in front of the area, like there was eye contact, and there was a boat.
The defendant is reminded that she is not currently on the stand.
Okay, well, regarding evidence 14, the so-called stealing of the chickens and trespassing, were you ever asked to leave during that time, Ereo?
the actual getting the chicken eggs and actually
Yeah, like
throwing
leading
them.
up to the birth of the twins, did Dawn ever tell you to leave?
I don't recall easily, but I don't think so.
So you would say she did not technically have you trespassed, which would mean you were not trespassing.
It was before, I believe, the trespass has. She said I trespassed.
Okay. That would be all here.
So we're done with this witness.
I do not have anything more to ask of Ereo.
Neither do
All
I.
right. Ereo, you may step down. I believe the plaintiffs are still bringing forth witnesses if you have any more.
I would like to call Dawn to the stand, Your Honor.
Very well. Dawn, please take the stand.
Wish me luck.
Why is it called a stand if the person immediately sits? Just occurred to
That
me.
is a question, Your Honor.
I think they stand sometimes. They used to.
Oh, okay.
So, Dawn Splosion. May I call you Dawn?
If you wish, yeah. I go by as many nicknames as people prefer.
So, just to ensure for the record, you are indeed the mother of Freddy,
I'd like to believe so, yes.
and you are the one who named Freddy Clucker.
Yes.
Was there an inspiration for the name you chose?
There was an inspiration.
Why'd I ask what that
However,
inspiration was?
I want to preface this by saying I was under a lot of pressure to come up with a name fast. I wanted to make sure it was a memorable name that would help Freddy succeed on the server, and I took inspiration off of other people's experiences in Minecraft SMPs by taking a name or concept that already exists and giving it a twist relevant to the child himself. So Freddy Clucker is based off of a very popular movie franchise. Yeah.
Could you clarify who you named Freddy Clucker after?
I believe the character's name is Freddy Krueger. It's pretty popular.
that makes sense.
So
been
you
dreaming of
named
Freddy so
your
many
child after an
That's not
infamous
good.
serial killer.
A fictional one.
An infamous serial killer.
Again, I was under a lot of pressure, and it was the first thing I could think of.
Have you did you consider the name that my client had proposed before you clarified Clucker?
I might need to refresh on what that was.
I believe his suggestion was Freddie Mercury, the infamous singer who was quite
Ooh.
successful.
That is not somebody I already had a familiar understanding of. Not that I know the other one much better. I just had not heard of the one that he has brought up before.
Have you
As
heard the
well-
song Bohemian Rhapsody?
No. I live under a
You've not
rock. I
heard-
think this has been
So you
understood.
you've not heard any songs by the band Queen?
No, I literally live under a rock in the void, man.
We'll go ahead and move on from that. So you would consider yourself currently the primary caretaker for Freddy?
I would say yes. I named him. I take care of him. I feed him. I hired a bodyguard to protect him after this event. Put a lot of time and effort into making a house for him.
During the times of the event, could you describe where you were keeping Freddy?
For his safety, at the very the first couple of days after getting him, I made a small enclosure for him until I could make a better domicile, which I have.
How big was this enclosure?
It was a couple fences
Oh, we
with some
had that debate.
flowers. Some flowers.
If I've reviewed the
a sign.
evidence correctly, would you say it was a 2x6 box?
It wasn't
Perhaps
a
against
box. There
the
was
side of a mountain?
It was two sets of fences, about that amount of walking space, with a. You could still see the sky, so I wouldn't call it a box. I would call it an enclosure.
A
And
very
again,
small
this was
pen
a
for a. You say temporary. How long was Freddy in this enclosure?
like maybe a week, 2 weeks. Again, I made that as soon as I was able to, and I had the resources. I made him a house, and it is a nice house with a big balcony, a full yard where you can see the sky. I can show everybody if y'all want to see
Hello.
Freddy's living spaces for the past month.
So, how often would you say you actively fed Freddy?
Pretty much every time I've been on. And again, I've also hired a bodyguard who regularly visits him when I'm not on and also feeds him.
Have you confirmed that the
This isn't about
bodyguard has done that?
Why don't you ask him himself? He's here in the witness stands.
We might get there. How often would you say you're on to check on Freddy?
I try to get on at least once a week.
Once a week?
At least.
So you're saying Freddy might have only been fed once a week?
No. Again,
Well,
I have
that's-
hired
You
hands.
just said you tried to feed him every time you were on,
Yeah.
and you weren't. You deferred to the bodyguard. You couldn't quite accurately say yourself how often he was on to check on and feed Freddy, or
He's
if he
usually
actually
on
did
when I'm on.
that. Occasionally on at the same time, you said?
He's usually on when already when I'm on. So we have.
So there's a high
He has
chance,
been putting out multiple videos.
but you can only confirm he's on when you are, which is about once a week.
About. I
So
believe I can confirm for more because again, I do follow his channel and he has put out multiple videos.
people can make videos in a day.
You can.
It's a wild axolotl. So at the time when Freddy, or currently up to this point, how much social contact have you allowed Freddy?
Whenever I have visitors over, I take them to see Freddy.
What
Mostly
about
people.
other chickens such as Freddy?
I
you allowed
have
him to see
been I have actually been working on getting him a friend. I just would like to. I was waiting for this court case because again, if this was to go badly, then that would be 2 chickens that would have been taken from me. So I put a lot of stuff on
Your claim is you've not allowed social contact with other creatures as Freddy because you were afraid that we would
Objection. This is
take them.
objection. This is a disingenuous argument against what Dawn is actually saying. Thank
Your
you.
Honor, this is related to the court case on how Dawn has been treating Freddy. Your Honor.
She's stunned.
Sorry, I get distracted. There's an axolotl.
Would you like to restate your objection?
Oh,
Oh,
What was I
yes.
supposed to be saying?
Objection. The argument that's being made is a disingenuous twisting of what Dawn's actually saying. She is not saying that she's keeping Freddy from socialization.
Holy.
And I argue that.
And also, there's a wither in the corner. We may want to handle that.
Oh,
I'm trying
that's a problem.
pizza. It's working so far in the court, so I'm throwing pizza at it.
I'd like to ask for the jury to be quiet. So, Can you
How dare.
can you RGB just get rid of that portion of the wither, just in general, and also stop it with the axolotl?
Why?
Yeah, I think this is getting
I like that
into
song.
audience tampering territory, or jury tampering territory.
And also, I believe that the jury attendance has changed. There is a Noodles who is, I believe, supposed to be on a jury stand.
Well, we have substitute jurists for a reason. So Noodles was unavailable at the start of the proceedings. I believe Ghost will continue.
So
Unless
Noodles
Ghost
is going to
wants
be
to be relieved
prosecuted
of
for
jury
missing
duty.
jury duty.
He just lost it.
With the objection, however, I do have evidence, Your Honor, of Don's intent to social contract limitation against Freddy. But everyone could look at evidence 25.
Let me see.
It should be posted somewhere.
I should probably watch that. You said 25?
I'll make sure it is posted.
I don't see 25.
It's
Just
like
I
a
do. It's.
ta-da.
But I think you have to listen to it, right?
You would have to listen to it, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand close to nothing right now.
I can't hear anything. This is so quiet.
Yeah, it's
I put on
really
subtitles.
quiet.
Put on
It does help.
subtitles.
I can't hear anything at max volume.
Oh.
Also, hey, I can't
In-
hear this.
In the evidence, Ereo was unsupervised by Freddy and had some eggs. And Dawn specifically said, I cannot remember the exact quote, but she did not want any chickens with him.
This is false. The quote was actually from your own evidence. I don't want a ton of chickens in there, anyways.
There
did
were
read
currently
that in the
no
subtitles,
chickens
too.
in the pen already.
Still, you are misrepresenting
Well, I did say I did not
what the
remember the
defendant
exact
has
quote.
said. That's a lack of preparation on your part. Jeez.
It
Are you
was
a
his great
lawyer or not?
preparation. Your Honor, are you taking sides right now?
I do want to
I
say we
expect
gave you
professional comportment from lawyers.
we
if you
gave
want
you
to
all the
present evidence,
evidence.
yeah.
We had you. We gave you all the evidence that we had multiple months in advance.
Yes, and then I collected more, which is what this evidence is. Apologies for not remembering the exact quote.
Sassy.
Regardless, you were actively preventing more chickens from being in the enclosure with Freddy, which is, in its own right, limiting social contact with other beings such as himself, which can affect a child. Heavens no, I have been like that. Get personal. That being said, with Freddy's whereabouts, would you describe your home environment safe?
I would say pretty safe. I've taken great pains to light up the area around his his home. I have tested the fencing to make sure that intruders are not able to hop over it and get in. The only people who can get in are visitors such as myself, say maybe Sayo or Pizza, Noodles, just people who can like make a diagonal jump can get in. But since no actual like intruders are able to do diagonal jumps for some reason, they can't get in. I've got
What about
a double
the
fenced
rest
gate.
of your base?
The rest of my base, yeah, any place where people will be walking is pretty safe. Again, it's lit up. I have a shopping district, so I've been working to make sure that people are able to go in and shop without worrying about a creeper coming up behind them.
How dare you, Ghost?
The jury would please review evidence 23. It shows several large holes or at the very least one large hole that Dawn herself had fallen in and gotten quite hurt. And I fear that a child such as Freddy might be more susceptible to holes such as that.
Objection, old evidence. That hole is no longer accessible from Freddy's house.
Still
Like,
around during Freddy's time.
that was quite literally nowhere near him. And that was before the house was even finished. Of course, an unfinished house is going to be dangerous. That's why it's now finished.
House? A child in an unfinished house?
Yeah, that's why he's not in an unfinished house. You're giving evidence of a house that is
Just said
that was
he
still
was
in the process
an
of being.
unfinished house.
No, I didn't.
Was he not you talking about how your base was unfinished yet you were housing him there?
No.
Is that
My
not what you just
base-
said?
No. My base as a whole is a collection of tents, as well as a nearby village. Freddy was in the safest possible area of that base. Once I made a house for him that is a suitable domicile, because, as you said earlier, a pen is not the best place for a child to stay long term. I made sure I built a house for him, moved him to that house once it was safe to do so and completely childproof. And I brought him into that house, and that is where he has been for the past month and a half.
Seems to be audio issues, so I am hesitant to bring up further evidence other than you. How would you say you feel about my client?
Honestly, surprised. This was not the
Surprised?
Ereo. This was not the Ereo. I've come to know. This is I thought when we brought back the original Ereo, we'd be safe. Seems like I was wrong.
There was a false
Would you-
Ereo? Oh, wait.
Good friend, terrible parent.
How many are there?
Would
Good friend,
you
terrible
say
parent.
you dislike or hate him?
I wouldn't say I hate him. Just
Wouldn't say
mostly
hate
disappointed. I'm scared.
Scared?
Right.
Have you pursued legal action before this court case?
I didn't have a reason to. I had my own things going on. And again,
Invitation to Freddy?
pardon? Could you say that again?
You were limiting Ereo's visitation before this court case?
Yes, for Freddy's safety, because again, y'all saw the evidence. I don't want him near my child. Not when he can axe him in half.
Realize that limiting a parent's visitation is actually illegal.
It's illegal unless there is concern for child's legitimate safety.
Yet Ereo was around Freddy multiple times, and nothing happened to Freddy.
Objection, this is a fallacy. Just because nothing happened in the time that Ereo was around does not mean that something could have happened if he was around for longer periods of time.
If my audio was working, I would show Miss Dawn's lack of aggression towards the father.
I don't Okay, so earlier, I just want to bring up, you called me dangerous, saying I attacked Ereo earlier. And now you're going back and saying that I'm not aggressive towards Ereo?
Hinting at
Either am
possible
or I'm not,
bipolarism.
I am a little
you
confused
have-
at what the argument is here.
Do
They
you
have
have doctor's note for
claimed
that?
that Ereo is extremely dangerous, and she very clearly says she doesn't want him around Freddy. Yet, like I said, I do have evidence that Ereo has been around multiple times and Dawn has not showed any aggression towards him during the time before this court case, which hints at possible bipolarism.
Objection, we are not making a medical diagnosis of my client in a court case. This is ridiculous.
No, just stating that there's clearly something going on here.
Objection, Tyr is not a medical professional. He is acting as a lawyer, not as a doctor.
Oh yes, my client is correct. My
would
client.
agree.
Speaking of doctors, Don, do you know of any doctors around your area? Or do you have a primary care physician for young Freddy? Would I take that to
Do
be a
we
no?
have one of those on the server? I don't
So
think
that's a
anybody here is
no. You don't know of any doctors? What if Freddy had fallen into that hole that you fell into and gotten hurt?
Well, then I would administer medical care. I'd probably find somebody who has a brewing stand, or
Are
feed him
you a
some
medical care
seeds.
professional?
I would really question the game if Freddy got hurt.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's only a couple ways a chicken can get hurt. Chickens do not take fall damage; they float to the ground. So that would mean somebody would have to attack
Surprise
Freddy.
us.
Yeah. And in order for somebody to attack Freddy, they'd have to be, they'd have to have had the intent, sorry, I'm babysitting a fluff. I am so sorry. One moment.
We'll take a very short recess so that the fluff can be tended to.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. That was very bad timing. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, they'd have to have the intent and the means. I have eliminated the means by making the house as safe and secure as possible from anything mindless that could have gotten in. However, the only thing that can get in are people like Ereo, who might have the intent to hurt my child.
Well,
Which
how
is
do
why
you,
I've limited access to those I believe may cause harm to my child.
do you have a list of these members you believe might cause harm to your child?
Not a physical one, but
What are the bases for you deciding someone might harm your Freddy?
Have they first of all, have they gone out of their way to harm something that did not really need to be harmed? Like there was not really a necessary need.
Would that
That
involve
is the main.
most, say, butcherers?
No,
Killing
I would.
animals? I feel that's like the whole vegan movement, isn't it?
I said without a need. If
Well,
you need food and
could
you
farm.
go off and kill a hoglin, that is for your food. I personally am
Objection.
not eating chicken this season because I have Freddy.
Objection, the plaintiff's case is trying to equate food production services to a personal relationship with animals in a father-son or mother-daughter scenario. These are two completely different considerations.
The full basis between allowing people towards a child is solely based on the one person's intent, and their reasoning is not harming something that needs it or is needed. And the food was the example. We can get food other ways.
Was Ereo needing food when he tried to axe crit my cat?
Well, that
Yeah, I
begs
think
the
I'm going to
question.
sustain
There
the
are
defendant's lawyer's objection.
wild ocelots around. How would he know that it was your cat? It was clearly stated when he saw the collar, he stopped. Meaning he had no intent of hurting someone else's pet.
There was a village nearby, but it was only like within render distance. We weren't standing in the middle of the village. We were standing next to the lake.
Yeah, so why would an owner's cat, like, just a random cat that he can't see a collar? That could be a
Why
wild
would you
cat.
kill a cat? Why would you kill a cat? I ask you. There's no reason to kill a cat in
Would you
Minecraft.
defend
It is a
yourself
friend.
against a leopard? They're cats.
Objection. This is an crazy analogy. He is comparing a house cat to a leopard. This is
Cats.
insanity.
I've known people to house panthers.
Oh, so
but was it a panther? Was it a panther?
It was a cat in the wild. How can
It was
you
a
tell
house cat. It was smaller
it's
than
still
Don's head.
a cat. Wild cats can look like house cats.
So in this world, there are currently no panthers other than, house cats. So I think this argument is irrelevant. I'll
Can you
find
not turn
another
Ocelot
avenue
into a
for.
house cat still?
No, you cannot anymore.
Nope.
Maybe not.
Ocelots cannot be tamed.
Still a wild cat.
Ocelots do not cause harm. I'd like to point that out.
Actually,
not
yes, they
attack
do go
players.
after
They're more
chickens.
scared of you.
They do not go after players.
In fact, don't cats like run away when wildcats run away when they see or hear a player? There's no reason to be afraid of them.
I don't live in the desert. I live in the plains.
There's cat planes too.
I've not seen a cat by me. Regardless, anyway, this is the last question. You mentioned that you don't really hate Ereo, but did you not say, and I quote, at one point, your heart might as well be when referring to Ereo being a slime?
I did say that. However, I do
So-
not believe there's any laws against saying a comment such as that.
Well, no, but that could be taken as a very offensive, and I believe my client did. And they're
You don't have free speech around here?
arguably, that'd be hate speech.
That still falls under free speech objection. This is under Canadian law. That would not be prosecuted for any reason.
That definitely would not
The
qualify
point
for hate
is,
speech.
you would not say that against someone you did not dislike in some way.
I was saying that. If you want to hear my reasoning, when you think about slime as an object, right? Like non-sentient glob of goo. It is cold as like an emotion. So basically, and it's also slimy. So basically,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's all good. It's cold and slimy, and that was basically I was equating Areo's actions to a literal glob of slime.
So you're saying my client is cold and ruthless?
Not always, but at least in this scenario, yes.
Would you consider a cold and ruthless father to fight for custody of his child?
Oh yeah.
Do you think just because he cares for them?
There are multiple reasons somebody can ask for custody of a child besides love. Trust me on that one.
Say that you abandoned Ereo.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? You cut out.
Would you consider that you abandoned Ereo?
I would need more of a definition here.
Well,
I'm not.
Just abandoned as in the something that's left behind is the official definition.
I mean, we still
But
talk.
you abandoned Ereo.
I would not say abandoned if we were never like married and we still talk. Like we still like interact. He's just not allowed on my property and he's not allowed to see Freddy.
But we haven't finished the court case, so you shouldn't be able to just limit his.
Objection. This point's already been overruled. Parents are allowed to interpersonally restrict seeing children if they believe there is a legitimate concern of safety.
Which has proven that Ereo has yet to do anything to Freddy. So the act of describing Ereo being unsafe for the child is yet to be proven.
He literally
That is the
tried
purpose of this trial, so.
No
He
further
tried to
questions,
murder
Your Honor.
him on the day he was born. I'm sorry if I want to protect my child from that potentially happening again.
I don't remember Ereo actively trying to kill Freddy himself.
This was all given in the evidence I put in general chat. This is all this is.
And in
publicly
that
available.
evidence, he was around the child and seemingly just playing with him, roughhousing.
He
you could
placed
say,
a cactus
as
next to
adults
his
do with their
temporary
child.
enclosure, hoping he would run into it. I'm sorry. Your
How
Honor.
can you?
I got out of line there.
Craziest definition.
How can you
Yeah,
prove his intent was for Freddy to walk into the cactus?
Are
Maybe
you
he was
calling
planting
a
trees.
lawyer to the stand?
Bye, Jenny.
You're not allowed to interrogate the other lawyer unless they are also on the stand. This is just chaos. And we all know that nothing unfractured is chaotic. Especially not
There's
in
no
the jury.
chaos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your Honor, I would like to submit the
Definitely
evidence
nothing.
of RGB spawning an ocelot against that statement.
I would like to
Did
point
you
out
spawn
this is not an ocelot.
And misspoke, axolotl, very close.
Do you have any other questions for the witness currently on the stand?
Nope.
All right, Pizza Buff, your witness.
Don,
I
I'm sorry you had to go through whatever that was. I would first like
okay.
to state, before we start getting into my questions for you, that I believe the plaintiff's arguments so far have been filled with fallacies, exaggerations of truth, and half-truths. You can see for yourself the evidence provided. You can imagine the scenarios that both Don and Ereo could be in this scenario, and I think we'd also like some clarifications on the actual facts of the matter when it comes to chicken safety and child development. So first of all, Don, I'd like to address the initial claim by the plaintiff that Freddy's initial temporary habitat was too small or not accommodating enough, and I believe they said it was something like a 3x6 block, something in that
2x6.
range.
roughly.
What was that again? Sorry.
2x6.
2x6. 2x6. 2x6 blocks, which equates to a real 2x6 meters. And if we translate that to feet, you get 6 feet by 18 feet. And if you multiply those together, you get 102 square feet.
Objection, a chicken in Minecraft is just shy of 1 block, which is 1 meter. Which would make him... you can do the math.
Regardless, we are scaling this appropriately. Maybe a Minecraft chicken is double the size of a real chicken. However, the recommended enclosure habitat by the Freedom Ranger hatchery is 8 to 10 square feet. So we are comparing a size difference of 2x from a real chicken to a Minecraft chicken with an enclosure minimum requirement of 8 to 10 to 100. This is a 10x over what is required in real chicken coops, for real chickens, for open space to roam freely. So even Freddy Clucker's temporary enclosure, which was much smaller than his current habitat, would still be more than enough for the average chicken. I'd also like to mention, you said that you would feed Freddy whenever you saw him online. I assume that would be some matter of feed or seeds, correct?
Yeah, I actually have a variety of seeds. I've been wanting to get him more. I want to get him some beetroot seeds so he has a vegetable in his diet. But he's got wheat seeds. He's got watermelon seeds as a treat. I don't want to give him too many of those. Those are very rich. And then he's got pumpkin seeds.
So you moved on from an initial kind of regular feed to a more premium feed, a grower feed, something along those lines. Awesome. So I'd also like to ask you a question. How long has it been since Freddy Clucker's birth in terms of real life time?
I would say about I want to say 3 months roughly.
3 months. So let's say 11 or 12 weeks.
2 to 3, yeah.
Somewhere in that range. So starter feed is often given to chickens in the 0 to 6 week period. Starter feed is very simple. It is meant to get just some basic proteins into the chicken's diet, and then they go into grower feed, which is where they start to grow and start to develop for the 6 to 16 week period, which is where Freddy Clucker will currently be now. Now, chicken feed, you don't have to refresh or replace their chicken feed every single day. You can give a chicken a couple pounds of feed, and they'll go through it through the course of several weeks.
Oh.
In fact, most chicken farmers, most people who own chickens, have 1 10, 20 pound bag of starter feed that they use for multiple chickens throughout their entire starter cycle. So the accusation that Dawn was not replacing and refreshing the feed every day is nonsense, because this has nothing to do with real chicken biology. This is just an appeal to emotion. That said, go ahead.
I forgot to mention earlier when I was being grilled, even if I'm not on every week, I actually have two separate chests set up that have the food in it inside Freddy's house that he has full access to, as well as water, anytime he likes. So when I'm not home, he can just get into that.
Yep. There is plenty of access for Freddy Clucker to access food, water. It is refreshed appropriately, if in fact not more often than recommended by real chicken farmers and caretakers of other chickens. So I believe that this argument. Sorry, who said that?
Can chickens open chests?
I mean, they've got a beak. Birds are pretty smart.
Birds are smart. Are you implying
if we're
that
inferring Minecraft law and physics, can a chicken open a chest?
This is irrelevant to the discussion. The discussion is
very much relevant. If you're arguing that there are chests of seeds that Freddy can actively get to whenever Dawn is not around, but
Your Honor, we're being grilled by
the
prosecuting side.
I think that's a reasonable objection.
It's an objection, sure. But this is an argument to be had, not a objection of truth or about the argument itself. This is a new argument that they're proposing.
I will say, even if Freddy cannot theoretically get into the chest, I also have bales of wheat sitting around the chest, so he
which
can
is
eat
another
off
type
those
of
as well.
grain. Yeah, and if we want to stick to full Minecraft logic. If we want to stick to full Minecraft logic and say, no, chickens can't eat. You know what else chickens can't do in Minecraft? Starve. They don't have a digestive tract. So if you want to go full Minecraft logic, take it to the extreme. Take it to the logical extreme.
That's just animal cruelty.
Animal cruelty? Which what? What else is animal cruelty?
Not
killing 20 villagers in the first couple weeks?
By the argument of Dawn earlier, that killing animals is completely natural in the circle of life.
If they are necessary for items that you are trying to get food, you're trying to get food, then having say a cow farm.
Several updates. How do you know that a baby isn't going to?
Your Honor, I'd like to end this back and forth discussion with the prosecution. I don't think this is getting us anywhere.
This does seem like it's become unproductive. Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask. You mentioned that you hired security for Freddy Clucker. Is the security in this room here with us?
Yes.
And that would be BMA, correct?
Yes, BMA double OG.
Hello.
He's fully decked out.
Hello. Awesome. BMA, I'll need you to come up to witness a little bit later. You're good right now. I'd just like to acknowledge that you are here and that it's relevant that you are here. Because I think it's relevant to say that the argument's been made that Freddy Clucker, it was irrational or even unlawful, is the argument made, that Dawn would try to restrict Ereo's visitation to Freddy Clucker. But at the same time, the argument's being made that it doesn't make any sense that if there was real concern for his safety, why would Dawn not attack Ereo? But then at the same time, they're saying that Dawn did attack Ereo. There's a lot of contradictory claims from the prosecuting side. And all of
there a question in there for the witness?
Yes.
Because you're kind of testifying here.
We're getting to the point. The point is if there wasn't a concern, Dawn has explicitly stated that she did not wish to be violent, correct? You did not have any... You didn't have a desire to be violent to Ereo at any fundamental level.
Yeah.
So, what did you do instead?
I hired a bodyguard to keep an eye out on Freddy and just kind of keep things safe.
Keep the peace. Didn't want to have. Oop, I heard the. Oh well. So
So the audience is instructed to stop building withers for crying out loud.
I have a hammer.
Ben moment.
Oh no! Now it's a law.
So the argument has been made that despite some contradictory claims of Dawn being aggressive, Dawn being less aggressive than she should be, which I find to be a ridiculous argument. But this is all irrelevant because Dawn took action to defend Freddy Clucker, even if she herself
Objection,
did not
Your
want to
Honor.
be violent.
The arguments against Dawn being aggressive and non-aggressive are being used in the same context when I used them indifferently. Dawn had made a aggression towards Ereo after stealing his bed unprovoked, and then was not aggressive when theoretically she should be because her unwanted husband is around the child she's trying to keep him from.
Objection to the objection. They're not married. So that's false.
This was completely out of wedlock.
And she's
And
still trying
also-
to keep him from her child, but was being
Regardless.
non-aggressive towards it.
Your Honor, this can be very easily explained by saying that the claimed aggression moment happened right after Freddy Clucker was secured by Dawn after he was endangered by Ereo. There was some level of stress in the scenario,
Objection, that
and
is
I
no
believe it's
excuse to
perfectly
physically assault someone after stealing their bed.
Oh,
and
no
then trying to
excuses,
pass the
huh?
night.
No, I'd like to shut this argument down because if there's no excuses for attacking Ereo, then there's no excuses for killing 20 villagers in the first couple days of the server.
Objection, my client has admitted that that is a false statement.
If
Yeah,
a witness may speak, I would like to comment on the alleged aggression. We have property rights, right? Like, we're, like, allowed to defend our property. If there's said a trespasser on it, right? Like, that's Canadian. Is that
We're under
in
Canadian
Canadian
law.
law?
Yeah, it's a little bit more restricted than in the United States. Any use of a potentially deadly weapon is
So my
very-
hand would not be counted as a deadly weapon, right?
It's still assault.
Yeah, but
I'd
it's
also like
minimal defense of self, only necessary for self-protection.
I'd also like to mention that Dawn was not actually punching Ereo. She was hitting him with part of the bed. Literally hitting Ereo with a cushion.
That's arguably worse.
With a cushion?
That is an
You're making the
improvised
argument
weapon.
that hitting someone with a cushion. Sorry, we're having to
She
take
was
down
holding
the
a
window again.
full bed
My
frame.
apologies. Which wouldn't make
Well,
sense in real life.
now I'm
because
curious.
You can't pick up a
Were you
fucking
hitting
bed.
Ereo with the cushions or with the bed frame?
She was holding the full
I
bed, Your
can't
Honor.
remember.
And the
but
feet
way
face
that you...
towards-
Wait, one moment. I have a bed. We can like test this out.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Let's
Like,
test
Wait,
this out.
here.
Honor, look at the bed. The
Like-
feet are facing down. When you overhand swing, the feet come down first.
But what way does it when I hit, right? What way is it?
That
going?
is
The
From
hand
very
does
right
a
much-
to the
circular motion. It's neither
Yeah.
up
The
nor
feet
down.
are still down. You're doing a circular motion coming
Yep.
through.
From
The
what it
feet
looks
are
like
going to
on
make
screen-
contact first.
left? It looks like the pillow, the top corner of the top left hand corner of the pillow is what's making
let's-
contact.
If you
try it
hit
out.
someone
You
with
can-
a
you can hit
pillow,
me
they're
if you
not
want.
going to go back and take damage.
I don't know. I've had some
comparatively, if you
pretty
hit them
heavy
with
pillows.
the feet, they are going to take damage.
I mean,
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's just coming. Hit me,
I
hit
mean,
me.
I have to say,
no, no.
if it was from the side, it'd be hitting both the pillow and the frame. So
Nevertheless,
believe-
I think for the
Canceling effect.
purposes of this these proceedings, I am finding that it is at least within a potentially reasonable ground for Dawn to have used what she believed to be the cushions of a bed to dissuade somebody that she believed was trespassing. If we need to have further criminal proceedings afterwards, that is something that can be discussed afterwards.
Trial and trial
Indeed.
chamber.
Trial in the trial chamber.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I do have a few more questions. Let me just pull this up here. Right. Okay, Dawn. I do have one question for you. Right after, actually, I'd like you to confirm this. The moment where you had temporarily captured Freddy Clucker to keep him from running away, scared, I imagine, from Ereo, although obviously we can't confirm that. Was the moment where Ereo placed a cactus before or after you named Freddy?
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I don't fully remember, but there is video record of it.
Yeah,
and
let
if you
us
refer to
check
the
real
video
quick.
record, then you would be able to get a definitive answer.
All right, I'm looking, and in order, it looks like this occurred before Freddy was named. So, not super relevant of a point, but I think it's important to understand for the sake of the timeline. In this moment, what did you think the purpose was of Ereo placing that cactus?
There are two probably overlaying intents. One, to mess with me. Two,
True.
to have the chicken potentially walk into the cactus because it has no other area to move.
Good. So the two concerns were that Ereo was harassing you in some way and that he was endangering the chicken, which of course immediately I assume you did your best to break the cactus and replace it with a regular block again, etc., etc.
Yep.
So the idea that there was no potential harm done or potentially imposed to Freddy even before he was named seems rather silly, don't you think?
Objection, Your Honor. I've just reviewed the evidence, and according to the evidence numbers, which I presume should elicit chronology, the cactus was placed in evidence 7, and then the naming of the child came in evidence 8.
Yeah, we said that.
Yeah,
that's what we said.
That's why.
Which would be, but you also just said that he placed the cactus after the naming.
No, I clarified it was before.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked me if that was correct. I said I could not remember and to refer to the evidence. We looked at the evidence, found that was not the case.
Yep. Okay. Right after that, you'd asked Ereo if you named the chicken. Ereo promised to leave him alone. All right. So, but of course we can't take a man's word on everything. This is the reason why we don't always trust eyewitness testimony. And why we have evidence. Because immediately.
Comment.
What?
The term "a man" is often used as a general term for a human. Interestingly, that use of man predates the use of man as a male human.
I would like to clarify that is exactly how I intended to use that word, despite the prosecuting attorney implying that for some reason that either I nor my client would be sexist.
Feels like
like to apologize
a
little
bit. In the context of the statement, the defendant mentioned we cannot take a man's word for anything, in referring to Ereo saying he would
I was not referring to Ereo explicitly. I was talking.
Did you all know that man used to be a gender-neutral term, and it is only fairly recently referred to like a male biological human? It's actually very interesting. I know too much. I'm a nerd.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Fist bump.
Yay, phrenology.
Etymologies. Solidarity. Woo.
Yay. Okay. Anyways, so as I was saying, after you named Freddy, and I suppose we should address their argument that there's some malice behind naming your child the chicken after Freddy Krueger in reference, which again is a fictitious character. And I would like to ask, are you aware of the movie series Star Wars? Guys, the axolotl's dying.
Somebody get back!
Oh!
We've had a death in the court.
What? How did that happen?
It drowned because it needs to be in water.
They suffocate after some time.
It's like dolphins. They gotta have like both.
What, do we need to charge RGB now?
I guess.
Charge RGB.
I would like to provide this evidence that my honor being presumably cruel to animals is not out of the norm on this server.
It doesn't excuse it, but all right.
Well, two
we're
specific
not doing
people
anything
is
about
does not necessarily indicate a full social norm.
So it died next to Dawn.
I believe
and since we're talking about
at least half of the server
being
is
next to
currently
each
here.
other, how does
Oh, okay. All right. So back to the point at hand before we had a death in the court. You're aware of the famous media series Star Wars, correct?
I'm aware of it. I am not as I've dipped my toes into the pool. So
All right.
to speak, but
So
I haven't.
you don't have to know very much
Died.
lore as I do to understand this. I'm sure a spoiler warning, I suppose, but I'm sure you're aware that the character Darth Vader is also known as Anakin Skywalker. What?
Yeah.
Inconsiderate much.
I did say spoiler warning.
Being so inconsiderate in the courthouse.
So it is actually quite common in the cultural zeitgeist to name people's kids, real human kids, after that character, to name them Anakin. Despite the fact that Anakin in the Star Wars series turned into a villain. Literally.
Objection, Your Honor. In the Star Wars series, it is presumed that Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader were technically two different people after he was consumed by the dark side.
This is
and multiple references in the script where he admits he killed Anakin Skywalker.
He was saying that
This is incorrect.
This is incorrect.
We may have an
The
expert.
comics prove this differently.
Yeah,
multiple
there
Star Wars
is canon lore that disproves this idea. I'd like to shut this argument down.
The
how many
objection is
universes
overruled.
are we putting into this case? Like real world, Minecraft, Star Wars?
I would like to know that as well.
I'm using this as
as
an analogy for disproving the prosecutorial argument that naming people after fictitious characters, whether morally good or morally bad in their respective universes, does not have anything to do with the intent of raising these real beings, right? People can be named Anakin after Anakin Skywalker, despite him turning into Darth Vader, and there's no intent on the parents to turn their kids into evil space wizards. This is a facetious argument, and I'm sure, Dawn, just to clarify and get it in your own words, you did not have any intent to turn Freddy Clucker into a serial killer. That would be ridiculous.
Anything, the only reason I named him that was to make his name memorable. Again, it was inspired off of other SMPs that name things after something that's already popular and put a twist that refers to either the nature of the child or the nature of the creator series.
And I'd like to mention that I'm sure many people, either in the jury or in the stands behind us, probably have named Minecraft pets and children in a similar fashion. This is not an argument against the motherly status of Dawn. This has nothing to do with the argument. Sure, you may find it a name distasteful, but again, freedom to do what you like with your child, with and however you please, or even if Freddy Clucker didn't like his name, who's to say that Freddy Clucker couldn't ask to change it, or maybe Dawn would change it at some point if it really does become a social problem.
Not like I named him Tallulah does the hula from Hawaii.
Objection, Your Honor. If we're arguing about Minecraft physics, a chicken cannot name himself.
Chicken can't name themselves in real life either, Tier. Just go with it.
Yeah, well, still. that proves my point more. The chicken is now foreverly Freddy Clucker. And it has been scientifically proven that names can't affect personality.
And now we're kind of like towing the line of that we did in the last case about like if a chicken's not able to care enough to want to change their name,
Then how would they know what their name is?
yeah, we're kind of touching
That
in
sounds
on
like a
we're
separate
going
argument.
into
I don't like where
philosophical.
that's going.
We are going into philosophical territory when talking about virtual chickens. I think this is again a facetious argument.
Yeah, I think we should move on from this argument on the simple basis that I am a giant nerd about these things, and I have a degree that literally involves philosophy, and I will just nerd out about all of this and waste everybody's time, which
Totally
nobody
fair.
wants.
We'll never
Totally
see it,
fair.
Sounds good.
All
Not
right.
fun in the
We
court
should
case.
probably move witnesses then. if you don't have
Yeah.
Minecraft is just a simulation.
Before we move witnesses, I have one last question for you, Don.
Mm-hmm.
And this is to do with what happened soon after you made their temporary enclosure for Freddy. You were building in your shop. You were organizing things. You have your plushie business, correct?
Yes, it's very successful actually.
Awesome, wonderful. I'm assuming you're using the profits from that to support Freddy and his housing and I don't know, maybe education.
We'll absolutely do so.
Absolutely. So
I want to make sure that I'm well off. He's well off. Actually, I think I said this on stream. Just because I'm homeless doesn't mean my child should be. So he's got a house. He's got funds set up for his future. It'd be actually kind of neat to put like a college fund chest somewhere.
sure. I mean,
his
it's
house.
only been 12 weeks. I don't think most college funds start a little bit after that. But yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you are
It's too
using the
much
shop to support Freddy Clucker. Pretty obvious that this would be at least part of the reason that it exists at this point. Now, there is a moment, if we look at our evidence, number 16, where Ereo appears outside your shop, fully kitted out in diamond armor and a pollinated bee head, for whatever reason.
I had a bee head once.
Perhaps that implies that he had previously killed a bee as well. We may not know that. But then he pulled a crossbow on Dawn and shot her multiple times in her own shop, proceeding to state, and I quote, let me find the moment. Yes, this is a robbery. Put your hands in the air and give me everything you have.
Oh my
That is an
gosh,
exact
Ereo.
quote. So not only is he attacking Dawn in her shop that she uses to support Freddy, but he is asking her to give him everything she has out of her inventory or out of the shop that, again, would have been used to support Freddy. So if Ereo really cares about Freddy's safety, about Freddy's future, why would he steal resources and attack the mother?
Objection, Your Honor. This evidence is spliced to make my client look bad. It does not show the aftermath.
Oh, you wanted to say that ours is spliced. You should take a look at the 9-second clips y'all took.
I think,
Objection, Your Honor. All evidence is spliced and should be nulled entirely.
Objection to the objection, Your Honor. That's a ridiculous claim.
I mean,
the
how do
evidence
we know
stands
that
for
anything
itself.
happened? So, you know.
The evidence stands for itself that, in fact, Dawn was attacked, and Ereo did ask for her items out of her shop or out of her inventory. The implications there for either way, and it implies that there's no real concern of safety from the plaintiff. There is a concern for personal gain and a concern for pursuing whatever means they desire by any means necessary. And I think that this suit for full custody is just an extension of that philosophy. Getting what he wants by any means necessary. Thank you, Don. If you don't have anything else to say, you may return back to the chair. That is all I have for Don.
So we are starting to run low on time.
We
I
have
believe.
one more
remarks.
witness.
Yeah.
Motion to
So
move to closing remarks.
We have one more.
I believe we've gotten everything necessary.
well, I
So-
mean, the
so-
defense hasn't had the opportunity to provide their own witnesses. So
Sure.
I just think we should move a little bit faster,
Yes,
maybe a little bit less speechifying.
This witness will be quick. BMA, if you'd like to come to the witness stand with me.
Yeah.
First, does the prosecution have any, or the plaintiff have any more witnesses that they want to call?
No witnesses from us, no.
Okay, then yes, please proceed. BMA, take the stand. Whatever oaths we're doing, I don't know.
I vow to be Canadian in this legal process.
Excellent.
Yeah, be Canadian. Oh yeah, be Canadian.
Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Coffee
Be
and
Canadian,
donuts
eh?
and ice skating or something.
Coming my
Oi.
way.
All right,
All right.
BMA.
Where's the poutine?
BMA.
All right.
You were hired by Dawn to be Freddy's bodyguard, correct?
Yep.
And have you been paid for your services yet?
No, I haven't been paid for my services at all.
But you have an agreement with Dawn for payment at the end of this trial and seeing what happens, either if you need further protection or if your contract needs extended or payment after it's all concluded, correct?
Yes.
You have an agreement. Wonderful. So tell me, were there any incidents where you had to step in as a bodyguard?
Actually, I think I remember there was one incident where I had to step in and try to keep like Freddy from going to the wrong hands of Ereo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on when this happened and what Ereo was attempting to do?
I'm trying to think what week it was.
An exact time isn't necessary. Just roundabout. Was it a couple weeks into being hired? Was it just a couple weeks ago?
It was a couple. I think it was a couple weeks when I was hired.
Okay. So what happened?
I believe Ereo was trying to take Dawn, try to take the child without my attention. So I had to step in and see what he was gonna do.
Okay, so you think that Ereo in this moment was attempting to take Freddy away from Dawn's habitat that at this point she had constructed the proper home, correct?
Yes.
The real one. Yes. So you caught Ereo trespassing on Dawn's property.
Well, no, that's not the whole story, but it turns out he didn't actually do anything to Freddy. Like he didn't even came over to Dawn's area.
Oh, so he had just made an implication that he would?
Yeah, I was kind of worried when he said it in in chat like one day.
Okay, so he made a threat to take
Yeah.
Freddy from the property, but once you presented yourself, nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
So I think this is indicative of the fact that the jury is very low. I think this is indicative of the fact that hiring you probably was a good idea.
Yeah.
And
I was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was doing a great job, like keeping Freddy all fed up when Dawn wasn't online. Like
Yeah.
I've always visited her area to check on Freddy and feed him and make sure he's taken care of.
Wonderful. So Dawn has put considerable resources into keeping Freddy safe, and clearly it has worked out because potential threats have been quashed. This is threats, of course, are not immediate actions, but they are relevant to the court because an intent to do harm is not necessarily indicative that anything would have happened. But this is not the only case. Dawn, you have a couple of other things. Yes. So this item here, which I will present to the group, This is a sword. This is a sword that Ereo used to threaten Freddy. He threatened Freddy, and he threatened other animals in the area using this sword. We had it in a bundle to protect against fingerprints. We will give this to the judge to inspect. And we also have this ominous bottle. You may remember that BMA, I'm assuming you spent a large amount of your time either near Freddy
Yeah.
or in the village nearby, correct? When acting as a bodyguard. Yeah. In a village nearby.
It
May
did
I see
like
the sword?
it did trigger like I don't think it didn't trigger the raid.
Didn't trigger the raid. Well, yes, of course. That's why we have this. This ominous bottle was owned by Ereo with a threat to trigger raid in the area as well. And this sword was dropped by Ereo while he was on a happy gas, I believe, whenever he was taking the other two chickens using the happy gas. That sword was dropped. So clearly during that outing... Sorry?
Objection, is there a way to prove this?
It is in the initial VOD. I don't know if we got that clipped isolated, but the VODs are up on my Anonymous VODs channel. If anybody wants to go back and check through.
Yeah, this is physical evidence that we presented over, and it is double checkable using the VOD. The same moment, I believe it was clip number 15. That would have happened in that particular moment. Correct, Dawn?
Yeah, sometime like shortly before that, because
he had been messing around on the happy gas prior. Yes.
Yeah.
So between these two pieces of evidence, these two material, physical pieces of evidence that have been taken from the scene, and the implication that BMA services really were actually utilized and taken advantage of. Thank you, BMA. You may return to your seat.
All right.
Unless they'd like to do any cross-referencing, but
I do have a couple short cross.
Okay, so BMA, I'm sorry. you're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to go back up and cross-referencing. But I believe that all of the evidence we provided is indicative that BMA's job was very important.
So, BMA, when exactly were you hired by Dawn to protect Freddy?
Well, as soon as I heard like this whole child custody case going on, I came over to Dawn's area and I wanted to know what was going on. And I spoke with Dawn, and she was like, "I really need someone to be a bodyguard to protect the child during this whole court custody case."
Okay.
And so I decided to take the job, and I decided to do it.
Okay. And how often would you say you were online to check on Freddy?
I was online for. I'm always online like every day.
Every day? And you check on Freddy every day?
Yeah, I check on him all the time.
Okay. If you could give a number, how many times were your services as a bodyguard actually needed?
As long as as long as he wasn't being threatened by anyone.
So, how many times did you actually have to stop someone from being around Freddy? Or particularly Ereo?
I would probably come over there and try to threaten him with a gun, or should I say a bow?
So you went to Ereo and threatened him to come over?
Yeah,
come over?
Yeah, I did not come over.
But did you not say you would threaten him with the bow? How often would you have to stop Ereo from being near Freddy? Like in the case you mentioned with Pizza Buff, you mentioned you revealed yourself as the bodyguard. How many instances in that scenario?
It only happened like once.
Just the one time? So you never really had to defend against Ereo?
Yeah, I never had to.
That's all my questions, Your Honor.
Very well.
It wasn't me.
Wait, what wasn't you?
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
What do you do?
Why is there glass over by the jury now?
Okay,
I
are you
like to
worried about
request people
that?
to stop
I
messing
didn't do it.
around.
I'll actually second this request.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I would probably not.
All right. Well, I believe if that's everything, B-Man can come back, correct, Your Honor?
Yep.
All right.
Wonderful.
All right.
Appreciate it,
And we
B-Man.
have closing arguments. Unless anybody else needs to be a witness.
I don't believe so. Prosecution, do you want to flip a coin on who goes first?
Sure.
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads you are or heads you aren't?
Heads I am first.
And let's see here. I'm getting the coin flip. It is heads. You are first.
Once again, good, probably evening by this point, gentlemen and ladies of the jury. Throughout this entire court trial, we've gone over multiple bits of evidence, and I believe in the end, we've discovered a lot about the past characters of the defendant and plaintiff, and within the court case, I feel we've probably discovered more of the current feelings of who they actually are. When my client came to me, the first thing he said was, "I would like custody of my child." And in his words, to me, that didn't sound like a father who had any ulterior motives other than being there for his kid. The second thing he said to me was, "I will settle for visitation." And as someone in society, I can account that having both parents involved in a child's life is significantly better than only one, regardless of who the parent is. There's several speculations and studies on whether a single mother household or single father household is better, etc., etc. In the end, most people just want to have, especially children, want to have both of their parents. So I would remark that my client, first off, he may have made some mistakes in the past, as we all do. I know I certainly have. I have to live with them, and I've tried to grow from them. I would trust that my client is under the same mentality. And I will add, I've been to his estate. It is very nice and lovely, open range. It would be a great place for a chicken to, at the very least, visit and see and stretch his little legs. So I urge you to consider what is really best for Freddy, especially seeing as the evidence has not provided that my client has actually done anything to him and truly only wants the best for his son. That is all.
Ethan, your turn.
All right. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think we've seen a lot today about feelings from the prosecution. They've talked a lot about how they feel that Ereo was shamed or unfairly taken from his child. A lot of feelings about how the arguments that have been made here are irrelevant because we feel that children should be with both parents in all instances. I ask you, does this apply to parents who are dangerous? Ignore the feelings of sympathy and feel sympathy towards who this customs is about. Freddy's brother or sister was killed by this man. 20 other villagers, a completely different class of creature, more intelligent than chickens, more active, all killed by this man. 2 other chickens kidnapped by this man. Now, there is something to be said about the desire to know both parents, and that is why we will say that despite us thinking that no visitation should be allowed, if the jury thinks it should be, we would like to say that this should be highly supervised visitation, not unsupervised, and certainly not full custody. Ereo has shown time and time again to be a threat, to be dangerous, not only to other players around him, but to pets and children, even ones that he himself have produced by throwing eggs, which kind of counts, I guess, in this universe. So again, I'd like to just incentivize here that you take a look at the evidence. Overwhelmingly, the aggression, the threats, the danger, all came from the prosecution. While Dawn here only did everything in her ability to protect her child, to keep him safe, to keep him fed, happy, and healthy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have had all the normal proceedings. Now it's up to the jury to decide. I guess we have a couple of questions. First, who should have custody of Freddy? If it's not joint custody, then is visitation allowed? And if so, is it supervised or unsupervised visitation? And also, one additional matter I would like the jury's feedback on is what to do with the person who has been horribly abusing axolotls in the courtroom here.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I will leave that for you to decide. Does anybody have a water
he's got the
bucket?
drum
Yeah,
again,
I was
right?
about to say.
Done.
That's just case proof.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noodles.
Thank you, Noodles.
And he won't know. He will not know.
He will never know.
Okay.
He will not know who did it.
So these are the questions before you. Do you need to take
He
a
does.
recess to go make go debate?
Yeah, we
The
probably should
outcome.
discuss.
All right. I would instruct you to go to the jury quarters to make to have your discussion, but it appears that we don't have any jury
I was about to say.
room.
You're on the rest of the.
Oh yeah, hole in the ground. That works too.
Nope.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, they're gonna beat the basement gremlin. That is.
Oh, thank you
Also the
back. Thank you for
architect.
that evidence back, Your
Oh,
Honor.
that works too.
So
The jury has seen
Glaive.
some things that we do not wish to discuss.
Let's not talk about the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about the
What is said in the basement stays in the basement.
Oh, we just
Another-
what's been
except for
said,
the
Sayo?
decision made regarding Freddy.
Okay.
We have noted that one of the arguments made was that Freddy has technically reached a level of maturity regarding chickens. Given how long this has gone on, we would like request that Freddy be moved into a collaboratively built house made by Dawn and Ereo in the spawn area.
So that he can
They
live
would-
on his own. That's the idea. Yeah.
He can live on his own and both have full visitation rights to visit Freddy in his own house.
Okay. That seems reasonable. Yeah. So Ereo and Dawn are instructed by the jury to work together to build a new home for Freddy Clucker somewhere in the vicinity of Spawn, and to make sure that his needs are taken care of.
Yay.
Yay.
yes.
Yay.
You're gonna help as if they need help with that. RGB. That's your community service.
Interesting.
That's convenient.
Material gathering duty.
Unless if
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Do we need to decide anything else in court today?
All right. Well, this actually ended out probably way better than I or anyone else expected. I had a really, really poor argument for this court case. I mean, heck, I probably would have lost if it wasn't for the jury. If it was just the Otter trying to decide, I probably would have been guilty and not have access to or even see Freddy again. So, well, I mean, it ended out pretty well. So, yeah. Gotta thank Tyr for being my very good lawyer. He was right here, right on the or what would be on the screen, my right side of my head. But yeah, I mean, great lawyer. And I mean, I knew that Pizza was going to join in as the defendant's lawyer. It seems surprising that Pizza joined, but I knew, but it was just meant to be funny, that's all. But yeah, I mean, Dawn did a great job having her side defended. And yeah, I mean, a little bit of shenanigans with RGB, and yeah, I mean, I had a great time. It was a great court case. And yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys didn't, hit the dislike. If you guys did, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.